Inhabitants of planet Earth, welcome to the latest episode of the Dreambubble Podcast. Today, we have a very, very special guest. We have Kareem, Ettouney, the art director for Media Molecule. Kareem, thank you so much for joining us. It's an honor.
It's a pleasure. I'm always happy to talk to you.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you as well. So, Kareem and everyone else in Media Molecule are very busy with dreams, and they were awesome enough to give us some time to talk to Kareem, to have the opportunity for him and the community to get to know each other and stuff. So, once again, thank you for coming on. So the first time, I still remember the first time in the community we saw you. It was during Media Molecule's first live stream. It was at the tour live stream where Alex Evans was going around Media Molecule, some by different desks, showing the molecules working on dreams. And you were messing around with concept art on your tablet, talking about your vision for dreams and what it was going to be. And now 2 years later, here we are. We've all come a long way. We got to see you sculpting environments and dreams, which mesmerized us, along with the streams you did with Anton as well, which were pretty awesome to see, like the building 3 cities in hour 1. And the community came up with Ice Kareem, that really cool nickname, and then it came back, and then we continued back in February with the Kareem memes, which we'll talk about this later in the podcast.
Cool.
And people just wanted to know you even more ever since then. So thank you really again for coming on and for giving us this opportunity, man. We appreciate it.
Pleasure.
So yeah, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, well, I'm one of the founders of Media Molecule, myself and Mark, Alex, Siobhan, and Dave, Chris, and Megs. We were a few of us were friends and started the project, and with Francis and Rex and a bunch of people, Anton, all joining after that. Soon after that, so I'm one of the people that started Media Molecule, and the biggest thing that we really had in mind at the time was a culture of working in a way that is more empowering and expressive for everybody that is working in the company. We all came from very cool companies that we worked in before, but things were more hierarchical and you get very super specialized. So one of the genesises of Media Molecule was empowerment. And that doesn't contradict with the fact that we ended up making game-making tools like Little Big Planet and now Dreams. So what ended up being the culture of the company ended up being the culture of our titles, where we gave that, expanded the power and the big party, the jam, to everybody that touches our games. So I am a part of that. I really like that culture, and I was played my part in contributing to that. But my focus is on the visuals and the art of Media Molecule's titles.
Nice, yeah. The art direction is looking really great with Dreams as well, and with Little Big Planet, they're all very unique and fits within the Media Molecule ethos. So it's a really good job of seeing how all that unique style is being portrayed in your games, which is really fascinating. So I don't know if you want to take your time machine back to a little bit, and you want to talk about before you enter the game industry. If you want to talk about if you have any other interesting careers.
Let's
talk about that a little bit. Can you tell us about how you came into the industry, or before that, what did you do before that?
Cool. I think just one comment on the art styles of Media Molecule. I'd like to put the word the handmade in there.
Yes.
We really like to have distinctive and unique thumbprints on all our products, but we really like to celebrate the uniqueness of every single person in that project, so they can override it with their own personality and style. That is what handmade is all about. You know, there is no style to the pencil. There is the style of the person holding the pencil. In our titles, we try to straddle the line between the thing itself having a style, but when you hold the controls, you can bend it to your own. My history, definitely came from I'm like a chameleon of visuals, where I started my life being an illustrator and freelance artist long time ago. Even before I went to university, when I was in school, I used to do posters and stickers and gig t-shirts and stuff like that for skateboarders and that kind of thing. So I was always illustrating. I always wanted to be a comic artist when I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
And I love the body, the human body. This is one of my number one obsessions. I love it. I think comic artists all share the fascination by the body, but I think it goes beyond what the body looks like. When you see in the history of humanity, we are obsessed with humans because we are humans. So we obsessed with the human proportion, what we look like, and how we move. And for example, chairs as a concept cannot be divorced from the human body. Chairs are all done to the measurements of the human body, or even a mouse on a computer, or the so the human body is the core of everything, and I've been always obsessed by it, drawing it and illustrating it and its expression and stuff. So from a very young age, I love drawing bodies and comics and stories and stuff. Then my dad's an architect, so I grew up seeing design and visualization of ideas. That was the second prong to my influences, growing up around an architect and seeing the and my dad is an amazing, humble and very gifted architect. He's from the generation of architects that did everything before computers. So he will draw every single thing you can imagine involved in a building, from the schematics to the perspectives to the watercolor rendering so it's from a generation of the Renaissance human beings. So I was very influenced by him in style and thinking. Then I went to interior design university, where I studied interior design, and then I studied graphic design as well in the same course. Like, you do graphic design a bit, and then you specialize in interior. Then I took an extra specialization in theater and cinema set design. Costume design as well was involved in there. Yeah, I was saying a chameleon of the visuals. So I basically studied costume, theater, interior, exterior, and as a freelance, I was very hungry for working. So from a very young age, I was in the market already doing freelance commissions. Anything I could get my head on, I did. So if someone asked me, "Can you design an olive oil cover for a bottle?" I'd go, "Cool. If you want a chair, if you want interior of a restaurant, if you want costume designs for a theater." And I never, just muscle in and wing it, ask people and learn by doing. So while I was in uni, I was also starting my career as a freelance, do it all, whatever I get, I do. That really helped me in future jobs. Because when you work alone and you have to do the job from negotiating the price of the commission, sending quotations, all the way to doing the work and delivering it, it makes you acquire certain communication skills that the pure art doesn't. Usually artists are shy types. I am not. In terms of, shy. I'm shy in life, but I mean, I'm not. The commercial packaging of a freelancer requires you to be an agent and a manager and a negotiator, as well as the craftsperson. So that's an overview. So my overview is I did the studying, the theoretical, together with the practical from day one. Mm-hmm. And they fed and informed one another, and I'm still learning. I'm very, very obsessive about learning and practicing all the time, and developed skills in painting and fine art, all sort of self-taught, and went and joined classes of life drawing and things. So I'm still in doing that same model of having the learning combined with doing happening in the same time.
Nice. That is a really interesting journey that you have. It's really cool how you started out as an artist and now you're doing it as a profession now, which is pretty cool for games. So it's pretty interesting how it takes how life takes you to these places when you have a passion for something to do.
I love games. Games has never been the target for me. I ended up in games rather than always wanted to work in games. I like I was saying in the early stages, my interests were anything and everything design. Maybe in a few centuries ago I would have been a mural painter, and this era the medium that attracts all innovative design and creative interested people find themselves in video games. It's kind of the fine art of this century.
Yeah, it definitely is. I agree with you. So what was your favorite career out of all the careers you had in life?
One of my heroes in life is Michelangelo. I love Michelangelo's yin and yang. He's an architect and a sculptor. He did San Pietro, for example, for the dome design, and he did some of the grids architecture. And at the same time, he's a very, very amazing illustrator, painter dude. My combo is similar in interest. I'm very interested in the design and architectural thinking, but I'm not really interested in the real world side of it. Like, I think when I did real world projects and interior projects, the limitation of feasibility and cost and stuff like that kind of break me. I like the fantastical side more. So some of my favorite moments are when you can manifest something you have in mind. Media Molecule and our projects give that, and I think I have had some exciting moments in this journey with some of the cool people that we work with here. But I like Media Molecule kind of ticks the box of my high aspiration, where working with incredible people to do these kind of moments. But in terms of solo moments I've had in my career and life, I love painting. I really love painting. I have a studio at home in my garden, a tiny little shed that I've turned into a painting studio.
That's so cool.
And I paint all the time there. I've got maybe 60 canvases inside my studio that I have painted over and over and over. So I've made about 1,000 paintings on those 60 canvases, if you see what I mean. Like, because I don't...
Oh my gosh.
I don't keep paintings. I paint over them all the time. I don't believe... if I have to keep paintings, if I'm doing a show or exhibition or something, then I will have to commit and pick a top 20 or something. But since I made that studio in my house 5 years ago, all the project is a live project. I keep painting over and over and over. Some of the paintings are favorites, so I leave them, but not a lot of them are immune or from me revisiting them and either tuning or evolving them and keeping some of their essence, or just eradicating them and doing something completely new, but benefiting still from the previous past. I love that concept. This is my favorite moment in life, when I am able to evolve, be present, do the best of the now, and yet inherit the past and the tradition before somehow. Because even when you paint over a painting, you still use the texture, you still see it when you're painting over it. It's still a reminder of a previous moment. I like that a lot. It's kind of like some of my favorite times I spend in there.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool. So is there any other hobbies you have other than being a painter?
Oh yeah, lots, man. I only my only issue is that there isn't enough time in life.
I agree with you. Yes.
I love playing music very much. I play piano and guitar and bass, and sing a bit. All all amateur.
Really cool.
All very amateur, at least in my opinion. But I love it. I love it very much. So one of the things I do every morning with my coffee, I have a little boy, cute little boy, and he comes under the piano when I'm playing. But I basically teach myself. I jam with Mark here in Media Molecule, my good friend, and Barry and some of our other friends. But mainly I teach myself on my own. And that's one of the things I love about the internet, really. I don't really have a Facebook account or Twitter or stuff like that. I rate them and respect them as systems, but I don't spend time on them at all. I only go on the internet mostly to learn.
Oh, wow.
Other things. So basically, it's wonderful how you can find... I love the Beatles so much. They're my biggest influence in bands. Even though I'm a visual artist, the Beatles are actually my number one inspiration. I have a Beatle anecdote every 10 minutes or something. Everybody is like fed up of me, but I can't help it. The thing. So I learned Beatles songs, but to do every part of it, like the singing, the harmonies, the bass, the guitar. And I play all the parts. I learned them from YouTube. And the mad thing is that you just put anything, like Let It Be on piano, and you find 1,000 lessons, people posting themselves, giving a tutorial of it. And that really inspired me for a project like Dream. I really hope that after Dream is live for a while, and people start making their own technique sharing and anecdotes and how they do their particular solutions and things for their brands and ideas. But for music, the wealth of information and knowledge that's all out there for free, done by very generous human beings, is amazing. One of the things that I think this day and age is it's full of sad or annoying things when you look at sometimes the news or whatever. But actually, one of the most positive things in this era is that free education, that you can better yourself in any area that interests you, and do it for free.
I completely agree with you. If you're interested in something, like for me personally, I wanted to get into animation the past week, and I looked up 2D animation and 2D rigging, and I started making my own stuff for fun. It's really
amazing.
Cool.
It's astonishing. It's astonishing. The more if you look, you will find so many people, and people that are willing to teach any level, like from the very beginning, middle, whatever level you are, you will find the right lessons for, and you can really have such an exciting progress by doing that. So this, and what sort of animation do you like? The old school, traditional?
I like using keyframes,
cool.
Not using sprites. Sprite sheets are really cool, but they take up a lot of memory. So I like using skeletal bones and attaching them to images and making them move.
Awesome. Well, send me some of your tests when you do something cool.
I did put one on Twitter last night, actually. I can reference that to you later. Yeah, I'll let you know about that. It's really cool. It's a gingerbread man, and he's all animated. It's really cool.
Sounds awesome. Well done, Danny. Well done. Keep going.
It's really exciting. Keep learning, everybody. It's really important to keep learning. There's a whole world out there for you to explore, and don't miss an opportunity ever.
I really believe that's the meaning of life, is just to better yourself. That's all there is to it.
I agree with you. So let's go into the game industry a little bit. So you said you were making games before you went into Media Molecule. Can you tell us about what studios you worked at and what kind of games did you make?
I worked in Lionhead. I worked in Lionhead Studios. Worked on Black and White and Fable, the movies. BC, a game that never made it. I worked on another game that never made it called Dimitri, which was like set in a Norman Rockwell American 50s town. Really cool. It would have been cool. We worked on smaller R&D projects, and that was actually one of the things that I worked on with both Mark and Alex and Dave in Lionhead, which kind of seeded the bond between us. Mark and Alex and Dave already had a strong working bond, but for me the room was probably one of the first times we all overlapped.
Oh, wow.
I worked with Mark Healy, actually, both of us on some tests and we did the cutscenes of First Fable, the frescoes they were called, where I did the drawings, the big murals, and Mark did the animation and compositing of that. So that was one of our first collaborations. And then I worked with Mark on his own personal project, Ragdoll Kung Fu. Like Mark did everything basically on that project. He got some of his friends to do a few little bits and pieces. So I
love that movie. Yeah, I saw that.
That was my first week in the UK. Actually, I came to England when I was 26, back in 2002, and the first job I got that job in Lionhead, and in the first week Mark asked me, we're doing this kung fu movie, do you want to be involved? I said totally, I'll be the villain.
That's incredible.
Yeah, man. And we went out and did kung fu in the garden, and it was crazy. We were being super silly and having lots of fun. And then
that would be like the best first week ever.
Yeah, that was my first week. Then he took that footage and basically made a whole game out of it in his spare time.
That's so cool. Yeah, I love how he's making Little Planet 64 as well on the Commodore 64. Like, I love how he's working on a spare project. It's so cool.
Yeah, Mark loves the Commodore, and he's one of the he worked on it from back in the days. But he loves as well the constraint of it all, like where the fact that it's all happy. The whole power of the Commodore is smaller than one of the thumbnails in Dream, of the icons in the project of one button. That's the whole machine, and yet there's games and demos and music and stuff all done within that kind of processing power. He manages to make some amazing things out of that, and he likes the discipline and the constraint. He done some really amazing tests already, and he's been able to get some cool levels going.
Yeah. So basically, we talked about you being an art director at Media Molecule. What does that exactly entail? Like, what do you do for on a day-to-day basis? Like, what is a job like?
Wow, that's a good question.
Walk your day. Like, I know every day is probably different, but like, what's a normal day like?
Oh, no. That's a good question, actually. For a company like Media Molecule that is very empowered, and we're all very proud that everybody can be much more involved in our projects than usual, where you could be an artist but have a very big input in the story, or you could be a designer and want to be involved in the tool design and contribute a lot to that. So there's a lot of overlap and mixed disciplines here. So what do directors do and art directors do in such an empowered place? And I would say I really like my style, or my school of thought is I love to inspire. I more than direct. For example, I find it essential that if I have a visual in mind for that I want to contribute to the project, or I have to draw or paint something to give the artist, because it's easy to talk. Talking is easy, and you can always sound cool when you say some stuff, like nowadays you can say, I'd like a bit of retro mixed with art deco with a bit of Pulp Fiction in it. Like, what does that mean? Like, in the end of the day, these are all some cool reference points, but it doesn't mean anything at all. I believe you have to every idea you have to take it much more seriously than just the words. Sometimes we have no time, and you have to say words and use words and rely on experience to be the thing that legitimizes the word. But
so basically you need a lot of concept art.
I do. So one part of my effort goes into visualization, not concept art only, because I am very heavily involved in the tool design of the art tools. So the visualizations I do in these cases are mock-ups and UI solutions and things that what happens when you press the button. It's like almost a storyboard of a tool behavior. And then we do a first mock-up or we do a first prototype, and then I use it, and then we come up with other solutions, things that succeeded, things that didn't succeed. So that part of my job, I use my visual thinking and to help communicate solutions for tool and UI design. That's a big chunk of my time goes into that. And then another, cool. Yeah, because if you think about it, if Media Molecule are doing game making tools as well as making games with those tools, so part of our job is in that tool design process, because we're not just making them for the developers. Every game company makes tools, but they don't share them with the world. We do that. And because we chose to do that, we have to make them much more user-facing, and pleasant and playful and gamey and expressive. And so part of my day goes into tool visualization, development, testing, and that iteration loop, working very closely with programmers like Liam and Anton and Simon and a lot of our wonderful, and Dave, and lots of great minds here that to jam with. So that's part of my existence. And then on the more conventional art direction, with our wonderful artists and designers and storytellers and musicians and audio people,
they're all incredible. Yeah,
I play my part here in contributing to the art direction. It's very important for me, at least the style that I adhere to in art, is that how can you make a direction and come up with styles and things that all the artists and designers and stuff have freedom to do their thing and their styles, while I also have strong and solid direction, because it's very important for me to make stuff that stands out as well. It can't be just amazingly competent. It has to stand out in a time where stuff is really great. Like, when you look at cinema and film and the standard of CG in that realm, or if you look at animation and that domain, or you look at theater, and then you look at other games and the blockbusters and the independent scene and all that, the phone market. So within all that, stuff is really wonderful. So my art philosophy is that we have to have stuff that you will never see anywhere else except from this group. And my particular flavor is or the things I and of course you have to work with the gameplay and the story and
right.
and the tools, and so that's almost the boring answer where I go, we find the style from integrating with and solving problems. But my artistic obsession is how can I use visuals and the visual language to communicate with people and inspire twists and solutions. I like mixing and iterating to find hooks in visuals. Like if I'm doing or if someone asks me to get involved in a science fiction theme, for example, we will look at all our references and things that we like and inspired by from games and outside of games. But then we look at sculpture and architecture and outside of the direct box influences, and then put it all in the blender and start cooking. And then some point a hook appears, a character or a solution, a design that came from one of the artists, or and then we go, let's build on that. So in the science fiction example, we went for a forest that is made out of science fiction thinking. Imagine people who designed the Millennium Falcon, but they are coming up with the stylization of a forest based on that kind of industrial design.
That would be crazy.
Well, that is our science fiction strand of our story, for example. So these are the kind of things I bring to the mix, trying to find high-level hooks, and then I like to contribute to the mix by drawing and mocking up things inside Dream to come up with the shape and the schemes and things that because it's like coming up with a language. Once you have the hook, you then expand it to become a language, and once it becomes a language, you try to find self-consistencies within that language that come from everybody who works on that language, and then we strengthen some parts of the language and diminish others. So a day in my life here is a combination of the multiple hats of tool development and visualization for that job, and then art direction via doing the art and getting the hands dirty as much as possible.
Yeah, that is a really interesting role. Yeah, that's really cool how you get to see the whole game taking shape, especially with Little Big Planet and Dreams and Tearaway. You get to see all the unique versions of the games that you guys make. Like with Little Big Planet, you have cloth, and with Tearaway, you have paper, and with Dreams, you have kind of like a clay-esque kind of look to it too as well. So it's nice to see. Maybe your next
Dream I would say is 3D paint and 3D 3D expressive kind of forms and paint. It's quite unique in the fact that you can get very tight, crisp 3D forms and shapes and designs, all the way to very impressionistic 3D marks, and that is quite unique to the Dream engine and the engine team. So the Tearaway, I wasn't highly involved in the project. That was a baby of Rex and all the wonderful people that worked on the project. I was more involved literally on the Little Big Planet and Dreams.
Yeah, they're all incredible games. You guys worked really hard to achieve the original vision, and we're all really proud of what you guys made. They're all amazing. So we only have a few minutes left of this podcast, believe it or not. Today is a busy day. So we're going to have a little quick lightning round to see if we can answer the rest of these questions. We have gotten a lot of questions from the community, so thank you so much for submitting them. We've gotten like the world record in terms of podcast episodes. So I had to only pick a select few because we only have so much time in the world. So I'm just going to go through these questions. And
I'll give you fast answers, short answers.
Okay, yeah. Lightning round. Ready?
Cool.
All right, awesome. So what is your favorite ice cream flavor?
What's that, sorry?
What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Favorite ice cream flavor? Caramel.
Caramel is so good. Especially caramel.
Salted caramel.
Salted. I gotta try that.
Yeah.
What would be a fascinating trait that may not know about you?
That I am more stubborn than I thought.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What other games did you work on before? Oh wait, we answered that one. Skip it through a whole bunch. If you were to describe Dreams to someone who does not know who it is or what it is, how would you describe it?
I'd go. It's like the Netflix experience for video games.
That is the best answer ever. I love that.
But on top of Netflix, it's also the tools that all the Netflix movies were made by. So, imagine if Netflix comes with a do-it-yourself filmmaking kit. So the Dreams has this consumer experience where you just go into it and browse and travel and surf people's dreams, and then you can make your own and join the party and everything in between. We really put a lot of effort in you not having to do full-on creation to delve into the creation part. You can just do curation, which is just rewarding your taste, like in Pinterest sort of thing. So it's a mix of all these things that people like to do in one place.
Nice. Netflix for games, the best way to recommend, like to tell dreams to people to pre-streams. Netflix for games, like 3 words. It's amazing. The next question is, what is the most fascinating thing you made in Dreams, or your favorite tool that is to work with in Dreams?
I've been very, very, very involved with the sculpture and the art tools. I particularly love one of the tools we call the style tool, which allows you to restyle an object. So if you get, for example, someone's model or house or tree, in the span of a few tools and a few sweeps of your hand, you can convert it into something entirely different. I find that really expressive, because you can just collage a few hundred things that you've scavenged from your window shopping, and using the style tool alone, change it into something that looks like it came out of the mind of Van Gogh.
Awesome. Have you introduced Dreams to your family? Like, I know you have a son. Did he play Dreams yet? What did he make?
Yeah, he loves it. Actually, he's been playing it recently. He loves Foxy and Francis and playing. We test sometimes our game, our campaign, and he plays the levels and he likes it. But the interesting thing for my kid is that the first time he saw a PlayStation and a video game was him seeing me make a level. And then we played that level. So the mystique of that, these things are makeable. They're not this other magical thing. You just put a bunch of rocks and a tree and a door, and then you play and you run around it. So for him, I think I like the fact that his first ever game is seeing a game being put together.
That is the best experience you could ever have when you're growing up, to see this kind of happen, because it definitely signifies the evolution of game development. Like, you get to experience a game for the first time and you get to see how it's made, sort of, at the same time. That's like mind-blowing.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So back in February, me and Molecule fans turned you into a meme back at the VFX festival with the move controllers. We also made a meme theme for Kareem for Dreambubble and the new one. Hope you didn't mind that. I should have asked.
No, I'll tell you in one sentence why I really love the moves. I got the Dream is full of so many cool things, and a lot of people in Media Molecule have adopted different UI solutions. My obsession with the moves comes from what it has to offer that I have never felt or experienced before in terms of affecting and influencing creation in a very one-to-one fashion and degree of freedom that I have never experienced before. So I embraced it massively, and we put a lot of love into it, hopefully to generate some joy into the people who will get their hands on it.
I personally can't wait to make like a sword with 1-to-1 ratio with move controller. So if I move the move controller, it'll be like a sword. You can deflect stuff with your move controller.
Amazing.
I want to try that so bad. I hope it's possible.
Cool. Yeah. You will be able to do everything. Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'll speak for the entire community for the past 3-4 years. We can't wait.
Cool.
Everyone who watches the Dream streams are always mesmerized whenever you're on it, sculpting environments and stuff. Which one is your favorite?
I think I haven't yet done one that I hits all the buttons. I'm aspiring to do it. I will carry on, by the way, in Dream. A whole world of what we calling classes and sharing anecdotes, and I've actually, because we started all these streams while we're developing, so everything was always in a work in progress state, and even our knowledge and our abilities are all developing. What I'm hoping to do is find the right tone where you can enjoy watching something being created, not even to learn how to do it if you don't want to do it. You just find it still quite amusing and enjoyable to watch that. I aspire to do something like that where it's completely a good watch, even if you're not interested in doing the task. And then on the flip side, but I'm generally hoping to do 2 threads, character design ones and body, and like going back to our first conversation,
the anatomy stream, yeah.
The anatomy and sharing all the things I know in anatomy, because I like that side, and then architecture and building worlds is the other. So I want to I still haven't done the one that is my favorite, is my answer.
Nice. Do you think that games as an art form are starting to get the same media attention and critical recognition as other art forms? And do you see Dreams becoming a tool that artists and galleries will treat as a serious media thing rather than just a game?
Oh my God, yeah, man. I am saddened by the fact that it's still a question. Like,
Me too. Yeah.
I think games is the only fine art of this era. All the other ones that are around, I love them very much, but they're all from previous centuries. Well, theater and oil painting and all that stuff is wonderful, and I love it all, and we talked about it, but they're all from 15th century, 17th century, 16th century, that sort of thing. Games is the only fine art of this era, and it is the only industry that combines all the talents of the planet in working together to create one thing. My God, man, this is amazing. If you look at the classroom of children, and you go, that person will grow up and become a mathematician and a technologist and a scientist and a producer, an artist, a community aggregator, a storyteller, what you name it, they all work in video games in one company. So together, I have never seen that makeup, even in science and medicine and military and all these things. You never have that combination of talent working on one thing. It comes with a price, but it's the ultimate boundary pushing creative medium. So fine art, it's not only fine art, it's fine science as well.
Yeah, All right, so we have 2 more questions left. We have to wrap up really, really soon. I apologize. At Mini Molecule, you guys have a lot of extracurricular activities. So you told me you love to sing, or you love it as a hobby. Do you participate in the choir by any chance?
Yeah, I went to the we have a music lesson in Media Molecule, and I joined them sometimes, but I'm not doing. I sometimes fall out of the going, but I have been sometimes there. Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, I remember listening to a demo Jenny showed me with you and the group singing. It was incredible.
It's very cool.
It was really nice. And the last question we have, oh dear, is can you try to drop the controller again on the table accidentally during a stream so we can see another mind-blowing feature?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, awesome. All right, Kareem, it's been an honor. Thank you so much for
thank you,
coming
man.
on to this podcast. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule. Hopefully we'll talk again soon. Hopefully we can't wait to see the stuff you guys make in Dreams and stuff that you play in Dreams that we create for you. Hopefully you enjoy that as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another awesome episode of the Dreambubble Podcast. Really honored to have you here, Kareem, and everybody, and the opportunity. Thank you for everyone for listening as well. It really means a lot. So do you have any last words, Kareem, before we head off?
Well, thank you, Danny. It's always lovely to talk to you. Your smart questions and enthusiasm is always lovely. And I am just can't wait for everyone to keep an eye on Dream, get their hands on Dream.
Yes.
And see it as an extension of your self-expression. And hopefully there will be something very unique to each and every one of the people who get their hands on this baby.
Yes. All right, Kareem, thank you so much. It's been an honor.
Thank you.
This wraps up the latest episode of Dreambubble Podcast. Thank you all for listening. Bye.
Bye.